Hi loves, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we're doing this corset and we'll be using some material that I thrifted. So I hope you guys will enjoy this. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel and please like the video and comment and tell me what you guys think of the tutorial. This is what you're going to need. You're going to need material which is about 2 meters. I thrifted my fabric and I'll also be using a short sleeve blazer for the inside of the corset. You're also going to need some extra material which you're going to be using as scrap for the pattern. And then you're also going to need a vest. You're going to need some paper, a Koki pen or a pen actually, closure for the corset at the back. You're going to need some boning, a ruler, chalk, pins, scissors and matching thread. First up, you're going to take your paper which you'll be drawing your pattern on, and you're going to take your vest or your tank top. You're going to place it on top of the paper. Actually, you're going to fold it in half first, and then you're going to place it on top of the paper, and you're going to trace around it. That is going to be your back pieces. So you'll cut 2 of those pieces once you have traced it around with a Koki pen. So I'm just going to mark that down, that I'm going to have to cut 2 pieces, and this will be my back pieces. Now for your front piece, you're going to fold over your paper and you're going to place your folded top over it, and then you're going to trace around the outer edge. So the middle part you won't trace around that because that will be on the fold. So where you're tracing around, which is the outer edge, that is where you're going to cut. Once you have cut that place, you are going to also cut it in the middle once you are done. Now you're going to take your scrap material and you're going to place your pattern pieces that you just cut from the paper on top. You're going to trace around and you're going to cut that, and you're going to sew the pattern pieces together. So this is just a sample so that you know where to improve. Now I'm going to sew this sample piece off camera, and I'm going to see you guys in a bit once I have sewn the pieces together. And there is my sample piece. Now I'm just going to pin the straps together because I want to try it on and see how it fits and all, so that I know what to do and where. Another thing that I forgot to mention, I did put in some dots under my breast and also where my waistline is, because it was kind of like bulging in that area. So I'm just trying it on right now and it seems fine. At this point it did seem like it was a bit big at the back, and then I decided to cut it more at the back, which was actually a big mistake. As you can see, those are the dots that I decided to create. Now we're going to rip the seams and we're going to take those pattern pieces and place them on top of the fabric that we will be using. So now I'm just going ahead and I'm ripping the seams. Once your seams are ripped and you have your pieces, you're going to place your pieces over your fabric. So now we are going to cut our pieces and then sew those together, and do the same for the inner fabric too. So now we're going to go ahead and sew the pieces. So you're going to sew your front piece together and you're going to sew your back piece together. You're first going to sew them separately, I hope I'm making sense, and then you're going to pin them together and then sew them together. Now as you can see, we have some uneven parts at the bottom, but not to worry, we're going to fix that. So just continue sewing your pieces. Now you're just going to snip along your seam, or you can also open your seam and just press it down to get a seamless, crisp look. And now you're going to do some top stitching over your seams. Now this is the second method on how to get your seams nice and flat. I'm going to open the seams with this fabric and then I'm going to press it down, and after I'm done with that, I'm going to do some top stitching. And now we are done with the top stitching. Can you see how beautiful that seam is? So now that we are done with that, for both of your pieces, you are going to assemble both your pieces together, pin them, and then you are going to sew along the white lines. Now we're going to flip the corset on the right side, and we're going to use safety pins to do this. Guys, I'm going to pin the straps and then I'm going to push it through whilst I'm pulling on the inside so that it does turn. Here I'm just pushing it through and then I'm going to pull it through from the other end. And there we have it. Now I'm just going to give it a nice press with the iron, and then I'm going to cut it to my desired length and shape because it is still a bit skew. Okay guys, so I'm almost done with the corset, and I just kind of tried it on just to see if it does fit, and I just realized that it's actually going to be small. I don't know, because when I was cutting it, before I sewed the pieces together, when I was cutting it, I realized that it is going to be a bit big. So I decided to cut a bit of fabric, and then I also did sew like far away from, if you can see where my line is, far away from the edge Now, when I'm trying it on, just around my waist, I realized that it's actually going to be like this. So I won't be able to use the closure I was going to use, because I was going to use these things, you know, the bra things that go over the bra and stuff, hooks and eyes. I was going to use that. This is what I was going to use, and with it being this small, I won't be able to use this anymore. So I'll have to be creative around it, and I'm going to create loops with some fabric that's left over, and then I'm going to use a string. Then that's how my closure will be. So now what I'm going to do, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create channels for my boning. Oh, actually I'm first going to cut it so that it is leveled up and nice, and it is the length that I want and the shape that I want at the bottom. Then I'm going to create channels for boning, and then put my boning in, and then once my boning is in, I am going to what do you call this? Then I'm going to sew my edges with some bias. I don't know if I'm going to, I did buy bias, but it's navy. I don't know how it's going to look, and I don't know if I'm going to use that or I'm going to make my own bias with this fabric. So let us continue with the project, and hopefully I'll be done soon with this. Now I'm just top stitching the edges so that once again it's nice and crisp, and then I'm also going to sew the straps together, and then I'm going to top stitch them as well. Now you're going to mark where you want your boning to be using a ruler and some chalk, and then you're going to create channels for your boning. So as you can see, I marked that down. Those lines that you see there, I'm going to sew over them, and that will be my channel for my boning. Now I'm going to take my boning and I'm going to measure how much length I want it to be, and then I'm going to cut it. Also, please bear in mind that you shouldn't cut the boning close to the end, because when you are sewing down the corset at the bottom, you don't want your needles to go over the boning, because that's just going to ruin your needles and your machine. Okay, so now I'm going to create some bias for the bottom of the corset. I'm going to use the fabric which I was using, and I measured down my corset at the bottom. It was 37 inches, so I'm going to cut 39 inches by 4 inches, so that will be your width will be 4 inches, and then your length would be, well, my length was 37, but I'm going to cut 39 inches, and then I'm going to create some bias for the bottom. And there we have the bias that I just created, so I have already pressed it down with the iron. Now pin your bias along the bottom of the corset. As you can see here, where you see the pins, I'm going to do a zigzag stitch there. So that's the inside of the corset that we're going to do a zigzag stitch, and then once we flip it over like this, we're just going to do a normal stitch. Also, make sure that you have inserted your boning in, because now we're going to close the bottom of the corset. Just changing my settings to the top stitch not top stitch, sorry, zigzag. So we have the zigzag over there, and now I am going to do a normal stitch on the top. Oh guys, I'm so hacked. My needle broke. Luckily I did have some extra needles which I had bought, so I'm changing needles now. Okay, so I'm done with creating the bias and sewing the bias at the bottom. Now I'm going to create the closure. So initially I had decided to use the string, and then I was going to create loops with this string, but that didn't work out because as I was trying on the corset later on, the strings would actually snap out. So I decided to create the loops with the fabric that I was using. But then, as I said, this is just a temporary measure since I didn't have the pliers to punch the holes in. Now let's see how the final product looks like. And there is the final product. So I decided to wear this in 2 ways, and this is the first way in which I'm going to rock it. And I'm actually pleased with the outcome. I don't want to lie, this is very lovely. This is the second way I rock it. Well, if I'm dressing it down, still have some jeans on, and I put on some sneakers as well. And that is the second look. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope it was clear enough. I'm still new at this thing, especially when it comes to tutorials. If I am missing something, please do let me know. That is it. That is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, please like the video, comment, like, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications bell so that you are notified the next time I do upload a video. Anything that's fashion related and affordable fashion, this is what we are talking about on this channel, and this is what we are about. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely day. Bye.